YouTube, I'm Mrs. Dr. Lupo.
And I'm Sam, and today we're actually going to be talking about urban legends in the 50 U.S. states.
It will be interesting to see what is the creepiest thing that comes out from every single state. And if you guys find the one that is super creepy in your state, leave a comment below so that way we can see where everybody's from. If you want to catch some live content, 8:30 a.m. Pacific on Twitch.
Or if you want more of our pre-recorded stuff, make sure you like and subscribe over here.
Spooky.
Yeah, is that it?
Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Sure, I'll start. Okay, so Alabama has Hell's Gate Bridge. The generally accepted story of Hell's Gate Bridge starts in the 1950s. A young couple driving over the bridge somehow drove their car off the bridge one night and they both drowned. There are two legends associated with Hell's Gate's Bridge. One, that if you drive your car out to the middle of the bridge and turn off the lights, the couple will magically appear in your car and leave a wet spot on the seat. The other, which is how the bridge got its name, is the belief that if you drive over the bridge and look over your shoulder halfway through, the scenery behind you turns into a portal to hell engulfed in flames. Potentially to curb ghost hunters and bored teenagers, Hell's Gate Bridge is closed to cars, and it is in such disrepair that walking across is strongly discouraged.
I'm just imagining you're driving across it or whatever, and all of a sudden you're like, why is my seat wet?
Not only that, but driving halfway through and looking behind your shoulder, like you're probably gonna wreck.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's a small bridge.
It is, like, oh, well, at least from the picture, but, like, still, that's still enough to maybe wreck. I guess it doesn't say, like, how fast you need to be going. I guess you can crawl. Or if you have a Tesla, you'll be fine.
There you go. See, I just put it in auto drive, and then I can just turn it. I can pull up the camera and still drive and see the camera on the screen.
There you go.
There we go. Alaska, the Kushtaka of the Alaskan Triangle. If I butcher words, I'm sorry to everyone in Alaska. Everyone knows the story of the Bermuda Triangle, but you might not know about the Alaskan Triangle. Oh. On average, 5 out of every 1,000 people go missing in Alaska, according to the LA Times. 5 out of every 1,000.
That's a lot.
That's like an elementary school. Pick 5 kids and throw them away. That's crazy. So even if there's nothing supernatural going on, it's easy to get lost in the Alaskan wilderness. The Tlingit tribe that lives in Juneau has their own explanation for the high number of missing people. Evil spirits called the Kushtaka. The Kushtaka are shapeshifters, half man, half otter.
Sam!
That lure women and children to water with fake cries in order to steal their human spirit and drown them.
Oh, so how do you feel about otters?
They're still the most badass things in the entire world.
I mean, obviously now they're half man, half otter.
Half man, half otter. What do you think? Is it top half, low half?
I don't know, but tell Charlie that that's what we're going to be next. We found it. Half man, half otter. All right, Arizona. The ghosts of Slaughterhouse Canyon. Whew. The story of Slaughterhouse Canyon, not pictured, also called the less frightening Luanis Canyon, takes place during the gold rush. During the 1800s, there was a family who lived down in the canyon. They were very poor, so the father would venture out into the canyon for food for his family. As you might have guessed, one day the father did not return, so his family slowly starved and descended into madness. The mother, unable to bear listening to her children's cries anymore, put on her wedding dress, murdered her children, and then threw them into a nearby river. The next day, she succumbed to starvation herself. The legend states that if you go down to Slaughterhouse Canyon at night, even now, you will hear the loud, anguished cries of the mother who lost her mind. Why did she put on her wedding dress?
Probably because of simpler times.
Live your life, baby.
What I find cool about urban legends over ghost stories is urban legends usually stem from something that actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
So the likelihood of not of it being real, but just that overall eerie feeling I think is deeper with urban legends.
Yeah.
Arkansas, the Boggy Creek Monster, is Arkansas's version of Sasquatch. He
Ooh, Bigfoot.
He's commonly accepted to be around 7 or 8 feet tall and covered in hair. Legend says that he roams the creeks of rural Arkansas. He was first spotted in 1834 when people reported seeing a wild man. People still claim to spot the Boggy Creek monster today, and he has been the subject of 5 feature-length films, including 1972's The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Really?
Weird.
All right, California. Oh, great. Okay, I'm here.
Hopefully you're not anywhere near this.
We'll find out. All right. The Charman's origin story is gruesome. A father and son were both caught in a house fire. Of course, it's fires for California. And horribly burnt in 1948. After the fire, the son became so mentally unstable that he killed his father. When the police found the son, he was so unrecognizably burnt, they didn't realize he was alive. So he ran away before they were able to arrest him for the murder of his father. Ever since then, the Charman is still spotted wandering the woods surrounding Ojai, occasionally approaching tents of innocent campers or pretending to be a hitchhiker and then attempting to attack them. Where is Ojai?
Ojai, California. Ventura County, northwest
That's
of LA.
Actually pretty. Yeah, but say that's pretty close.
Ooh, hopefully you never meet the Charman.
Don't want to go and see Charmander.
I was like, is that how Charmander got his name?
Nice.
Colorado. Riverdale Road is the site of not 1, but 8 creepy stories, ranging from a hell gate to ghosts of slaves hanging from the trees. The stretch of road is decidedly spooky. The creepiest story, though, is that of the phantom jogger. One day there was a driver who hit a jogger, freaked out, and left him for dead. Now it's said that if you park at the side of the crash, you'll hear disembodied footsteps getting closer and closer to your car. People have reported handprints on their windows and banging noises as if someone was kicking the outside.
Ew.
Would you ever go and test any of these?
I have. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be the same one for Louisiana, but there's of course many urban legends anywhere.
Right.
But yeah, in Louisiana, we had this tower, it was the top of a church tower. The rest of it was burned down. And the legend is that there was a couple getting married, and the man stood her up at the altar. And so she killed herself in the tower, and it burnt down after. I don't remember how, but it burnt down after that. And if you go up to the tower at night, then you can usually hear her crying or screaming for her husband, or well, not husband, fiance. So I didn't hear anything, but yeah.
I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would just in case.
I don't really believe in urban legends the same way I do with demons. However, I do feel like there could be evil around there.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, Connecticut. Hannah Crana. That's a fun name. And that's a real grave actually pictured. All right. Mm-hmm. Known as the Wicked Witch of Monroe, Hannah Crana gained a reputation as a witch in the 19th century when her husband died by mysteriously falling off a cliff. And locals reportedly believed that she had bewitched him. People also believed that she would cast spells on people she didn't like. Hannah lived till the age of 77, but right before she died, she asked to be carried down to the cemetery in her coffin by foot, not wagon. After her death, the people of Monroe tried to wheel her coffin down the hill but weren't unable. The coffin kept falling off, so they were forced to carry it. Ooh. When the townspeople returned to her home, it was found to be engulfed in flames, sealing Hannah's reputation of witchcraft. Now you can visit her real grave in Trumbull.
That was in Connecticut?
Yeah, I would visit.
That's funny that
also those graves are so close together.
I'm just yeah, I was thinking that too. I'm just imagining them trying to wheel the coffin and it just keeps falling over.
Yeah. Why don't you just strap it down?
All right.
It's a witch, obviously.
Delaware, the ghost of Mr. Chew. While not particularly mean-spirited ghost, Samuel Chew's story is still disconcerting. Chew was the Chief Justice of the Delaware Supreme Court in 1741. As the story goes, while he was alive, he didn't always get the respect he deserved. People frequently made fun of his name by mimicking sneezes while he walked by.
Oh.
After his death, people reported seeing his ghost sitting under a poplar tree, wandering the courthouse, and generally creeping out the residents of Dover. She would also pull on men's coattails and give women a cold, icy feeling.
Ooh,
That one's not as scary.
Not really.
Sorry, Delaware.
Florida.
Oh, this one's going to be a good one.
It's Florida, yeah. The gravity-defying Spook Hill. I want to read the sign first. That's actually on this picture. So the legend of Spook Hill. Ages ago on Indian Town on... Oh, ages ago and Indian Town, sorry. On Lake Wales?
Mhm.
Lake Wales Lake. Was plagued with raids by a huge gator. The town's great warrior chief and the gator were killed in a final battle that created the huge swampy depression nearby. The chief was buried on its north side. Later, pioneer haulers coming from the old army trail atop the ridge above found their horses laboring here at the foot of the ridge and called it Spook Hill. Is it the gator seeking revenge or the chief protecting his land? Stop car on white line, place it neutral, and let it roll back.
All right, I'm excited for the explanation of this.
Why would they let it roll back? All right. The phenomenon that happens at Spook Hill is real. Cars that are parked in neutral will appear to roll uphill. Legends say the hill is either the site of a Native American burial ground or an epic battle of a Native American chief against a crocodile. Okay, gator and crocodile are very different, but all right. But the truth is, it's actually just an illusion created by the hill's surroundings. While cars appear to be rolling uphill, they are still just rolling downhill.
Cool.
I kind of want to do that.
Yeah.
Also, that sign was so hard to read.
Yeah, because there's no punctuation except... Oh,
Yeah,
there was
there
a
were
little bit,
so many.
but there was lots of run-on sentences in there.
Yeah, I didn't like that. All right.
Georgia.
Georgia.
The ghost town of Lake Lanier. At the bottom of Lake Lanier lies almost fully intact towns, ferries, a racetrack, and multiple cemeteries. It's Atlantis.
It is.
The government, in its determination to create Lake Lanier, bought up entire towns in order to clear the space for the lake after they received congressional approval in 1946. That wasn't very long ago.
No.
However, they just decided to let the water cover up the towns rather than demolishing them. Now, Lake Lanier has a decidedly eerie feeling about it. There have been an unusual number of freak accidents and deaths on the lake in 2011. There were 17 deaths alone. Many of the people who drowned have been recovered. People have reported feeling arms and legs in the water, have not been able to find them right after, leading people to believe that spirits still roam the lake. Obviously, they didn't cover people in water while they were still living in that town. They evacuated the town. But still.
I feel like it's people just drowning from trying to go down and look at it.
Probably.
That's so interesting, though.
Yeah, to think that, I mean, a lot of lakes, especially out here when they make lakes, they don't take down the trees. They just leave the trees, and then you just have trees sticking up out everywhere, but a whole town?
Dang. Hawaii, night marchers. Night marchers, according to Hawaiian lore, are not evil spirits, but they do demand respect. They are spirits of ancient Hawaiian warriors who march around the islands to protect sacred areas. Legend says that if you look directly at a night marcher, you will be marked for death. And if by some chance you find yourself in the middle of a procession, you're supposed to lie down in the middle of the road.
That's not very spooky. I feel like there's spookier things that could be Hawaii.
Yeah.
Idaho, the water babies of Massacre Rocks.
Oh, I don't like that title.
No. Water babies are a Native American legend that are found in a couple of different places in America, but most famously in Pocatello at the Massacre Rocks State Park. The Shoshone tribe was first recorded in 1805 and were roaming the Great Plains as early as the 1500s, so it's not clear when exactly this legend originated. But the story goes that the Shoshone experienced an extreme famine, and mothers were forced to drown their babies in the river rather than watch their children starve. Today, some people claim that if you sit quietly at the river by Massacre Rocks, you'll hear the sounds of babies crying. Other stories say that the babies grew gills and fins and survived, and now they seek revenge on their mothers by luring unsuspecting victims to their deaths in the river. That sounds like an episode of
Ooh.
Grimm.
Yes.
That's what we should do, is we should just watch all of Grimm this month.
Oh no. Oh, this next one. Illinois. Homie the Clown. Throughout the suburbs of Chicago in the 90s, there was a rumor going around elementary schools. There was a creepy man dressed as Homie the Clown, yes, from In Living Color, driving around in a white van, of course, trying to lure kids into it with candy and money. In some variations, he was a kidnapper. In others, he was a rapist. But in all variations, Homie left a mark on young Chicago kids in the 90s.
Terrifying.
I feel like that could definitely be a true story too.
Yeah.
We've heard the killer crowns.
And it's Homie, Homey.
Yeah. The heck? Oh, that's so creepy.
Ooh, Indiana, the 100 Steps Cemetery. The 100 Steps Cemetery is located in the town of Brazil, Indiana. Though the official address is actually disputed. Well, it's not clear when the stories about the cemetery being haunted began. There are gravestones that date back to the 1860s. The legend states that if someone finds themselves in the cemetery at midnight, they must climb the steps and count to 100. At this point, a ghost of an undertaker will appear and show the person a vision of their death. On the way back down, the visitor is supposed to count the steps again. If they count the same amount of steps, the vision was false. People who visited the cemetery in the past have tried to outsmart the supernatural forces in 100 steps by avoiding the steps altogether. They've reported being knocked or shoved to the ground by an unseen force.
Oh, Iowa, the Black Angel. The Black Angel stands over 8 feet tall in Oakland Cemetery in Iowa City, and she is black due to oxidization. Most likely because of her dark appearance, multiple legends have cropped up around her. One legend says that a pregnant woman should never walk under her or she'll lose the child. Others say that if you touch or kiss the statue, you'll be dead within 6 months. Whether haunted, cursed, or completely harmless, the statue is definitely a somber sight to see. I want to know if, like, first off, how do you know that those are, like, the things that would happen? Who did it?
Right? It's one of those things, like, if you stick your tongue out like that, a bird's going to poop on it.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
kind of thing.
exactly. I would honestly, though, never, as a pregnant woman, walk by just because that would scare me.
Yeah,
And I don't think anybody wants to lose their baby.
exactly. Kansas. The devil's,
I've heard of this one.
The Devil's Chair. What did you say?
I've heard of this one.
You've heard of this? Okay. The legend of the Devil's Chair goes like this. An old farmer in Alma refused to sell his land to the city in order to build a new cemetery. Someone got a little too tired of waiting for him to sell, so he was pushed into his own well. Eventually, someone said that there was a terrible smell coming from the well, so the city sent someone to investigate. It was ruled that the well was empty and it was boarded up. Now, if you make your way to Alma, you can actually sit on the boarded up well, but legend says that people who have sat on the well have been known to mysteriously disappear.
Ooh. Yo, the next one's the Goat Man. Hell yeah.
Ah!
I love this urban legend.
Okay, go.
All right, so Kentucky, the Goat Man of Pope Lick. There's no clear consensus on how the Goat Man came to be. Some say he was a circus performer, others say he was a farmer who tortured his goats for Satan, and in return was transformed into a hideous goat monster. However, everyone does agree on his appearance: dark fur, pale skin, goat legs, and horns. The monster is said to hide under the bridge at Pope Lick Creek in Louisville to, unless you say Louisville, I don't know, everyone says it different, to lure people onto the train tracks, only to see them be hit by oncoming trains. Sadly, this urban legend has had some dangerous consequences. In 2016, an Ohio woman fell to her death from the bridge while looking for the Goat Man. I think like BuzzFeed, Unsolved like Mysteries or whatever, they did this too. That was interesting.
Did they find him?
The next one is mine.
Oh, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Ooh, the Grunch. If y'all don't know what the Grunch is, it's like a green, like half human, half like, I don't know, slimy looking monster thing. Anyway, let's get into it. Grunch Road is an old dirt road that leads deep into the woods and eventually to a dead end. It was a favorite place for teenagers to go and do whatever teenagers do until they learned about the Grunch. Okay, English. The Grunch are rumored to be a group of deformed, half-human, half-monsters that resulted from years of isolation in the Louisiana bayous. In the present day, it's said that if you find yourself on Grunch Road, don't get out of your car if you see a goat who looks injured. The stories say that the Grunch use goats to lure people out of their cars so they can eat them and drain their blood. There's also there's a musical of the Grunch.
Like the
Good old New
Grinch, but the
Orleans.
Grunch.
Yeah. Yeah. I think honestly, if you Google the Grunch, it'll probably come up with the Grunch stuff. But there's a musical. It's like a children's musical too.
This story sounds like something that Scooby-Doo and the gang would try to find out, and then it'd just be like the farmer from down the road.
Yeah, Louisiana has so many urban legends. Dang.
Maine, the mysterious stain on Colonel Jonathan Buck's tomb.
Ooh.
The tomb of Colonel Jonathan Buck in Bucksport, which was named after him, bears a mysterious leg-shaped stain. The story goes that Buck sentenced a woman to burn for witchcraft, and while she was burning, her leg rolled out of the fire. It's also said that the witch cursed Buck's tomb to always bear a stain for this injustice. It is said that people have tried to get rid of the stain twice, but the stain keeps reappearing.
Oh.
Weird.
All right. Maryland. Chessie the Chesapeake Bay Monster.
This
That's
is
a
just pulling
mouthful.
off of Nessie.
Yeah, that's a really... Okay, here we go. Chessie sightings have been around since the 1930s, but really started to pick up steam in the 80s when photographic evidence became more readily available. Chessie is said to resemble a snake, measure around 30 feet. This literally sounds like Nessie. 30 feet long and its approximate thickness of a telephone pole. There haven't been any recorded attacks from Chessie, but a 30-foot-long snake does not sound like something most people would want to run into. All right. All right, Scotland.
That's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Massachusetts, the spirits of Hoosac Tunnel. In the 24-year-long construction of the Hoosac Tunnel in western Massachusetts, approximately 200 men died. Death was so associated with the tunnel that it was actually nicknamed the Bloody Pit. After a particularly gruesome explosion in either 1867 or 1868, 13 miners were trapped inside the tunnel. The other workers assumed that the miners had died, but eventually it was discovered that the miners had lived, built a raft to combat flooding, and eventually died due to poisonous gas inhalation. It's said that these 13 miners haunted the tunnels for years, moaning and briefly appearing as ghosts. How sad would that be if to be like trapped in something and then nobody ever comes and tries to find you and you just live there until you don't?
Oh. I don't like that thought. Michigan, the little girl on Knock Knock Road. The legend of Knock Knock Road says that there was a little girl who was murdered on Knock Knock Road in the Detroit area, and now she appears to drivers at their car window, knocking, trying to find the person who killed her. Oh, that's kind of sad, though.
Scary. Minnesota, the Kensington Runestones. In 1898, a Swedish-American farmer found a gigantic slab of rock on his farm that had symbols that appeared to be Norse, and since then, no one has figured out where it came from. While official historians have debunked that the Vikings made an appearance in North America before Columbus did, the myth has persisted, and if it wasn't the Vikings, who did leave this mysterious rock, and what does it say?
Wait, historians debunked that the Vikings made an appearance before Columbus. I thought that it was proven that, like, Leif Erikson was arrived on North American soil before Columbus did. Hang on, I'm going to click this link that it's sending us to. Hello? No, that just brings you to the stone. What the heck?
Who was the first to land in America that is not a native?
Yeah, even if you Google it, literally still says Leif Erikson.
Interesting.
Norse explorer. All right, whatever. Google. Okay, next one. Mississippi. Deer Island's haunted treasure. The ghost of Deer Island originates from an old pirate story. The story says that back in the 1920s, two men were fishing on Deer Island when they heard rustling in the bushes, which they assumed was wild hogs. I can tell a Southerner wrote this. It would be wild hogs. Eventually, they decided to check it out and encountered a headless skeleton. They ran back to their boat, and the skeleton followed them all the way there. According to the pirate story, there was a ship that sailed to Biloxi Bay and buried their treasure on Deer Island. The crew decided to behead one of their own and left his body behind to guard their treasure. Okay.
Was that like the whoever drew the short straw?
Yeah, like who's
You're
volunteering for
beheaded.
that? Okay, buddy.
Missouri. That's where my dad is. Momo, the Missouri monster. Ugh, this sounds just like they're just being lazy with names. Momo is Missouri's version of Bigfoot or Sasquatch. He's been said to have terrible body odor, a pumpkin-shaped head, and an appetite for dogs.
Sir?
In 1968, Momo reportedly tried to abduct a 4-year-old boy, though no evidence was ever found.
I mean, it was probably somebody dressed like Momo.
Momo was first spotted in Louisiana.
Louisiana. Yeah, I've never heard of Momo, but we've heard of Bigfoot. Or Sasquatch. Montana. The Story of Sacrifice Cliff. I hate that name. The story of Sacrifice Cliff comes from an old Native American legend. 2 members of the Crow tribe arrived in their village from a trip to find that almost everyone there had been infected with smallpox and died. So heartbroken about the loss of their loved ones, the 2 decided to blindfold their horses and ride off the cliff to join the tribe on the other side. Sacrifice Cliff is visible from almost anywhere in Billings, so it's sad and a bit spooky to think about this story while the cliff is looming over the entire city. So is there, I don't know this answer, is there anybody left from the Crow tribe, or does the Crow tribe just cease to exist because of that?
Weird. Nebraska.
Woof, there you go. Do you know this one?
No.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. When Insider chose the most haunted place in each state, Centennial Hall was a no-brainer. People claim that there are multiple ghosts roaming the halls. But the creepiest story of Centennial Hall originates in the 1940s when it used to be a high school. I knew that it used to be a high school. The story says that a student was playing her clarinet, suffered a heart attack, and died because her reed was poisoned. Now, people claim to feel cold spots, hear disembodied music, and to have witnessed an empty rocking chair start to rock.
Oh.
Yeah, Centennial Hall is in Valentine. Is that what it says?
Yeah. Oh, we all know this one. Nevada, the truth about Area 51. There is perhaps no urban legend, myth, or conspiracy theory more famous than Nevada's Area 51, a mysterious government facility that is rumored to be associated with aliens. The U.S. government officially states that Area 51 is classified due to national security, which only fuels the fire. The secrecy surrounding Area 51 is what makes it inherently creepy, and with the government admitting to a program investigating UFOs, the theories about what's actually going on inside continue to seem more plausible. I don't know. I do believe that there's things going on, definitely in Area 51, but haven't there been like reports that have been officially released that there's nothing in regards to aliens?
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
New Hampshire, the Witch of Hampton, Goody Cole. Eunice Goody Cole was the only woman in New Hampshire history to be tried for witchcraft multiple times. The first charge was in 1656, and she was charged again in 1671. When she died and her body was recovered, the townspeople were rumored to have staked her through the heart to prevent her from haunting their town. People continue to blame Goody Cole for the misfortunes of Hampton citizens for the past 300 years. For example, a boat full of Hampton residents overturned and everyone on board drowned, even though they were in swimming distance of shore. People blamed Goody Cole for the crash and for cursing the passengers by having them forget how to swim.
Or probably they panicked.
Yeah.
Panic drowning. Gosh, some of these urban legends. I want to like dive more into like each state individually and like read urban legends throughout that state.
Yeah.
Oh, we know this one. New Jersey, the Jersey Devil. The story of the Jersey Devil has been around since the 1700s. The legend states that a woman named Mother Leeds became pregnant with her 13th child. Oh, bless her soul. And said, "Let this one be a devil." What? Once the child was born, it grew hooves, wings, horns, and a tail. Dang. You know what, Sam? We missed out. We should have just been like, let this kid be an astronaut. You
Exactly.
know,
If I could have
let
like
this
put
kid
this
be a
out into the
billionaire.
world,
Yeah, nobody told me that that's how you make
that's
it
how you do
happen.
it. Let this kid save the universe.
Ah, what did my mom say? Let this kid have insane anxiety. All right, now the monster has been spotted periodically throughout history in the Pine Barrens region of New Jersey. The state has embraced the legend so much that they named their hockey team after it. Yes, they did. Okay.
New Mexico, La Mala Hora. Oh, Charlie added something to his little app that he sends me pictures. I'll have to look at that.
Aw.
La Mala Hora, which translates to the evil hour. Oh, yeah, aura, not horror. Is an entity
Aura!
that you don't want to run into on a dark road. Legend says that at first it appears as a ball of black energy, constantly moving and changing its size and shape. If you look at it, it will drive you insane and will slowly kill you. At other times, it appears as a scary looking woman. It's said that if you see her at a crossroads, you or someone in your family will die.
Sad.
Dun dun dun!
New York, Cropsey. It's an abandoned hospital in New York. The story of Cropsey has many iterations, but it generally tells the story of a man who stalked a sleepaway camp / mental institution / children's hospital, had a hook for a hand, and killed children who were wandering alone at night. Every single person who went to camp in New York has heard about Cropsey. Things took a more sinister turn when a documentary posited that Cropsey's was actually real. A convicted child kidnapper named Andre Rand? I want to look this guy up.
Scary.
Oh, gross. He's still alive.
Is he in jail still?
I would honestly hope so. He's 77 right now. Oh my goodness. Honestly, the story also kind of reminds me of like Captain Hook. Hook for a hand after children, you know? Like, I wonder if that at all was based on.
Oh, yeah.
Cropsey.
I mean, we really just need to be reading Grimm's fairy tales. And
Yes.
we find every Disney movie there ever was.
Yes. Oh, dang, that's sad that that one's real. But I mean, urban legends come from something.
Yeah. North Carolina, the
Right.
Beast of Bladenboro.
It's a
In the
pretty bad
1950s, but it's with an O instead of a 0.
That is true.
In the 195 Os, multiple dogs were found dead and drained of blood in the North Carolina town of Bladenboro. People believed that there was a vampiric beast in the woods, and they tried to hunt the animal. Today, the town of Bladenboro has embraced its history, and residents actually hold a Beast Fest every year. While some people are convinced that the beast is probably a particularly large bobcat, it's never been confirmed exactly what was stalking their town.
I want to go. North Dakota. White Lady Lane. That's where we live. The story of White Lady Lane is a tragic one. The legend states that a young woman became pregnant out of wedlock, and her religious parents forced her to marry the father. The baby ended up dying after their wedding. The girl, so upset about her baby and her forced marriage, hung.
Hanged.
Is it?
When it's
Oh,
in that
hanged
case, it's
herself.
hanged.
Ah,
Why
Hanged
English
herself.
is a horrible language.
good job, English. Hanged herself from a bridge in her wedding dress. Locals claim to see her ghost hanging from the bridge. Oh, that is actually pretty sad.
Ohio. Oh,
Ooh,
God.
this is the picture I saw on like the little.
The Werewolf
image.
of Defiance. During the summer of 1972, the people of Defiance claimed they were being terrorized by a werewolf. The sightings always happened at night, generally by the train tracks. A couple of women said it would try to get into their houses by rattling doorknobs. The animal was said to be huge, hairy, and dressed in rags. But after summer ended, the beast disappeared, never to be heard from again. But the story lingers.
Please no.
Oopie!
Oklahoma. The mysterious shaman's portal. The mysterious occurrence in Beaver Dunes Park have been attributed to the fact that it was built upon ancient Native American burial grounds, which is why it's called the Shaman's Portal. It's also known as the Oklahoma Bermuda Triangle. There's another one. Mysterious things have happened in the park, starting with the Spanish conquistadors who went missing while searching for gold in the 1500s. Since then, paranormal activity seekers flocked to the dunes. Some people claim that a UFO crashed there, and a group in the 90s who tested the soil said it was abnormal. Abnormal how? Like, was it radioactive or like...
Yeah. Native Americans are not to be fucked with.
Yo, truly, Native American stories are honestly ones that I believe are true.
Yeah. Oregon, the Bandage Man of Cannon Beach. The Bandage Man is the American version of a mummy. He is rumored... They couldn't have come up with a better name.
Yeah.
He is rumored to be the ghost of a logger who died in a sawmill accident and now terrorizes teenagers who hang out at a deserted area of a highway near Cannon Beach, which I really want to go to Cannon Beach one day. Mm-hmm. Stories say that he knocks on car windows to try and get in and smells really, really bad. All these people smell really bad.
Yeah. You know, just give him a shower. Pennsylvania, the bus to nowhere. Is this the night bus? In Philadelphia, there's rumored to be a bus that doesn't have an end destination. The story says that the bus only picks up passengers that are at their lowest moments, who need to get away from their problems. Once the passenger is ready to face the world, they can get off the bus. Wait, is this Squid Games? But the passenger has no idea how long they've been on the bus for. Could have been hours, days, or even years.
I feel like we really should have been reading these like ASMR style the whole time.
Whisper, whisper, do it for the next one.
Can't. How to start laughing the whole time. Rhode Island, the Devil's Footprints. There is a rock on Devil's Foot Road that appears to show a normal human footprint and a cloven hoof. The story that goes that a Native American woman murdered a white man and fled the scene of the crime. While running, she was stopped by another man. She cried out for the devil to save her, when the man admitted that he himself was the devil and stomped his feet on the ground to prove that he had a cloven foot, which the rock still shows to this day. Weird.
South Carolina. The death of Julia Laguerre or Lagarre? I don't know.
I'd say Laguerre.
Laguerre. In the 1800s, the Laguerres were a well-to-do South Carolinian family that had homes on the mainland and on Edisto Island. The daughter, Julia, got sick, was pronounced dead, and was buried inside their family mausoleum. Years later, another member of the Laguerre family died, and when their tomb was opened up, the remains of Julia were found outside of her coffin. The story says that Julia had been in a coma and had woken up to try and escape her tomb, but sadly died. After the first reopening of the Laguerre mausoleum, the door can't seem to stay shut. The Laguerres tried multiple different doors, and every single time the door was found open. People believe that the ghost of Julia didn't want to be locked in that tomb any longer. Wait, that's actually really sad if that's how she died.
Who was I talking to recently? Might have been in my mod chat, that talking about how sad it would be when people were in a coma and before they knew what being in a coma was, and they just thought that they died, and then they buried them, and then they woke up out of their coma.
Ugh.
Right?
Horrifying. Why? Do people not know how to check pulses? Even if you're in a coma, you have a pulse.
I don't know. South Dakota, Walking Sam and the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation.
It's us.
It's about me.
Oh no.
Purportedly over 7 feet tall, that's a really weird word, and very slim, Walking Sam is said to appear on the streets of the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation at night, and he tries to convince teenagers to take their own lives. Whether or not Walking Sam is real, something tragic is going on at the reservation. From December 2014 to May 2015, there were 103 suicide attempts at Pine Ridge.
That's a lot of suicide attempts. Oh, don't like that. All right. Tennessee. I like that picture. The boy in the bathroom at Pine Haven School. The Pine Haven School, located in Jamestown, is old and abandoned, and it's said to be haunted. A tragic story supposedly took place there, where a boy was cornered by a group of bullies in the bathroom and shoved into a mirror, which shattered and killed him. To avoid getting caught committing murder, the bullies decided to bury the body underneath the floorboards. Today, people say that if you go inside the school, you can see the reflection of the boy if you look in the mirror. Oh,
I don't know if I would even want to try.
that's sad. I feel like that's a true story, though.
Yeah.
Sounds very plausible.
Texas, the Candy Lady.
Ooh.
In the early 1900s, children in an unnamed rural town in Texas started to go missing, and the residents blamed it on the Candy Lady. The story says that she would go around leaving candy on the children's windows, and eventually she'd lure the kids out with notes attached promising more candy. The story picked up steam when a farmer allegedly found rotten teeth on his farm, and later found the body of a boy with his pockets stuffed with candy. While little is known about the origin of this story, some have speculated that the Candy Lady was real and that her name was Clara Crane.
Ooh, I want to click on that link. Also, Hansel and Gretel. Wait, what is this? This is a Tumblr.
Yeah,
of
this
food.
is a Tumblr of food.
Hello?
No, thank you.
Why was this linked? All right.
Now I gotta scroll and go find it again.
That is so funny. Okay, Utah. The Curse of the Escalante Petrified Forest. While it is illegal to take anything from the Escalante Petrified Forest State Park, there is a legend that says that anyone who takes pieces of petrified wood from the park will be cursed with bad luck, sickness, and accidents. Park manager Kendall Farnsworth stated in 2014 that he gets about a dozen packages every year containing a piece of wood from the park, and an apologetic letter detailing the sender's misfortunes. That reminds me of the Brady Bunch movie where they went to Hawaii and one of them took something like a rock or whatever.
The lava rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Harley was saying that too, that was a story about Hawaii.
Nice.
Vermont, the frozen people.
Ooh.
First appearing in a diary that was published in the late 1800s, the legend of the hibernating old people recounts the tale of a poor family outside of Montpelier who couldn't afford to feed and clothe the oldest members of their family, so they froze the people and buried them. According to the tale, when spring rolled around, the elders thawed out and were just fine.
I don't think that's how science
No.
works. I don't think that's how that works at all. Anyway, Virginia, this doesn't sound threatening.
Yeah.
The Bunny Man.
The Bunny Man.
The Bunny Man's legend starts with what every good urban legend starts with, an insane asylum. Alright, dope. The people of Clifton were so up in arms about the asylum that they were able to get all of the patients transferred. The patients were being moved on a bus that crashed, and the police were able to catch all the patients. Alright, except one, the Bunny Man. According to the tale, the Bunny Man lived in the woods and sustained himself on woodland creatures like bunnies. But eventually, he attacked humans. Some people reported being attacked by a man with a hatchet. Other tales say that groups of teens would see a bright light and then would wind up dead and strung up over a bridge.
Weird.
Ah, the next one. That's the best one.
Aha, Washington. Bigfoot. One of the most famous Bigfoots. Bigfoot is an internationally recognizable name and has been spotted all over the country, but Bigfoot has been spotted the most in Washington state. Bigfoot is essentially a gigantic ape-like creature who is either a ferocious beast who attacks loggers and hikers, or a gentle giant who wants to be left alone. Either way, there's something creepy about an undiscovered species of animal wandering around the Pacific Northwest, evading capture. Maybe that's what Charlie was asking, if there's something between bonobos and humans.
It's Bigfoot. Or Sasquatch. That's great. Oh, the next one.
Oh, yeah.
West Virginia, Mothman. First and foremost, did you know Mothman was gay?
No.
Yeah, you know. And if you don't believe me, ask him yourself.
Okay.
So, in 1966, stories say that West Virginia was visited by an insectoid flying creature with bright red eyes who resembled both a moth and a man. He was spotted flying around town of Point Pleasant along with shining lights and the men in black. Mothman's origins have been claimed as supernatural, alien, or government experiment gone wrong. But Point Pleasant has embraced the monster, erecting a statue, creating a museum, and even dedicating a festival to him.
Do you want to go to the Mothman Fest this weekend?
I would honestly yes, anytime.
Oh my gosh. Isn't there, it's the Mothman Prophecies? Is that
I
the
don't know.
name of the movie? Wisconsin, Boy Scout Lane.
Ooh.
The story of what exactly happened at Boy Scout Lane varies. Whoa.
Almost lost a candle.
Uh-oh. That's a pretty one.
Thank you.
The story of what exactly happened at Boy Scout Lane varies, but they all end with the same conclusion. A group of Boy Scouts dead on the road. In some stories, there was a bus crash with no survivors, or they were murdered by their bus driver, or they just mysteriously vanished into the woods one by one. Visitors have reported seeing a swinging body in the trees, feeling as though they were being watched, and finding child-sized handprints.
Wyoming, Devil's Tower. There's no scientific consensus on why Devil's Rock looks the way it does, but one Native American creation story attributes the landmark's shape to a tragedy. According to the story, a large group of Cheyenne girls were attacked and killed by a bear. 2 escaped and found help from 2 boys who convinced the girls to act as bait. They climbed to the top of the tower and the bear tried to follow. The boys shot arrows at the bear and it finally gave up, leaving scratches all the way down the rock as it slid down. I mean, one bear did that. I will say
I
that
feel like
rock
a lot
looks
of
really
Native
cool.
American stories are very exaggerated on, because it's like the spirit and stuff like that. Huh.
Those are so cool. I like how like Bigfoot ones are kind of spread everywhere.
And like
That's
Nessie
pretty fun.
with Chessie.
Yeah, that's literally the
and-
Loch Ness monster. Come on.
Yeah, so we have Bigfoot, we have Momo, we have Nessie, we have Chessie. There's another like water thing in there as well. Weird.
Heck yeah. Oh my
It's very
gosh.
barely believable.
I definitely want to read like more from specific states. I know Louisiana has a lot. I know that like New England area has a lot too.
Yeah. There's a decent amount in the Midwest. A lot of them are Native American.
Which are probably the scariest ones to me.
Yeah. A lot of them are Native American stories. Yeah. Nebraska's got quite a few.
I
Scary
bet.
ones
Yeah,
too. A
'cause
lot of them
that's
are like, you know, murders in a house and now the house is haunted or whatever kind of thing. But
yeah, I want to hear like more unheard of ones. I feel
Yeah.
like that'd be fun.
so I believe urban legends more than I believe ghost stories.
Same.
What's the
Same.
next step after this? Then, as far as like spooky beliefs, is it unsolved
Actual
mysteries?
occurrences.
What was it?
Yeah. Actual occurrences.
Yeah. Unsolved mysteries.
Yeah. Probably unsolved mysteries. Well, I mean, then again, aren't all of these kind of a little bit unsolved mysteries?
Right.
So like what dictates that? Maybe like the Zodiac.
Yeah.
It's an unsolved mystery.
Ooh, spoopy. I think that's it for us today.
That was so good.
We're gonna leave you with all the spooks now, and now you guys just get to sit and think
Yeah.
about all these scary things.
Just a reminder, next week we will not have a show, but the week after that we might do a spooky Sims challenge.
And then we have our one right before Halloween.
It's gonna be fun.
So, should we dress up? I feel like we should do a floating head one, and we should dress up for one.
We should dress up next time,
Time.
like for the Sims one, because that way we don't have to use a green screen.
Yeah.
And then the last one.
Last one will floating head. Okay.
Uh-huh.
We should try to make it super spooky somehow. I don't know.
Perfect. We'll figure it out.
All right.
Stay tuned.
We will see you guys again, not next week, but in 2 weeks for Halloween dress up Sims challenge. We'll let you guys know when that comes out. And yeah, have a good next couple weeks. See you guys later.
See y'all soon.
Bye-bye.